New York City is more than just a place. It's, an idea, a dream, a relentless ambition, made tangible in steel, glass, stone. To walk its streets is to read a story written over centuries, each building a chapter in an epic narrative. The city's architecture is its most visible expression, a physical manifestation of its energy, its diversity, its unyielding drive to build bigger, taller, more audaciously than ever before. It's a vertical metropolis, the horizon a serrated edge of man-made mountains that pierce the clouds. This skyline, arguably the most famous in the world, the ultimate urban landscape. The buildings of New York aren't silent monuments. They speak to us. They tell tales of immense wealth, desperate struggle, groundbreaking innovation, nostalgic reverence for the past. They're the backdrop for millions of individual stories. Yet they also share a collective story of their own, from quaint, gabled colonial roofs to shimmering, crystalline 21st century towers. The city's evolution reflects social transformations, economic transformations, technological transformations. Before the skyscrapers, before the canyons of steel, New York City was a far more modest place. Its architectural story begins not with soaring towers but with the humble, practical structures of a Dutch colonial outpost. In the 17th century, New Amsterdam, as it was then known, was characterized by narrow streets, winding streets, houses with steep, gabled roofs, and distinctive brickwork. These early buildings were direct descendants of their European counterparts, adapted for a new world. They were built for survival and commerce, with homes often doubling as places of business. The architecture was functional, reflecting the pragmatic spirit of the Dutch traders who founded the settlement on the southern tip of Manhattan Island. When the British took control in 1664 and renamed the settlement New York, the architectural influences began to shift. The Georgian style, with its emphasis on symmetry, proportion, and classical details, became the dominant aesthetic for public buildings and the homes of the wealthy. Buildings like St. Paul's Chapel, completed in 1766, stand today as elegant survivors of this era. Its simple spire and orderly design offer a stark contrast to the towering complexity that would later surround it, a quiet reminder of the city's more grounded origins. These colonial foundations are the invisible bedrock upon which the modern metropolis was built. The 19th century was a period of explosive growth for New York City, and its architecture strained to keep pace. As the city became a center of finance, industry, immigration, land values in Manhattan skyrocketed. The only direction left to build was up. This economic pressure, the invention of the safety elevator by Elisha Otis, the development of steel frame construction, unleashed a revolution. Suddenly, buildings were no longer limited by the thickness of their masonry walls. A new building type was born, the skyscraper. It was a quintessentially American invention, and New York City became its ultimate laboratory. The early skyscrapers were marvels of engineering and expressions of corporate might. Architects borrowed from historical styles, clothing the modern steel skeletons in elaborate Gothic ornamentation, Renaissance ornamentation, Beaux-Arts ornamentation. The Woolworth Building, completed in 1913, was a prime example. Nicknamed the Cathedral of Commerce, its soaring terracotta-clad form resembled a Gothic cathedral, reaching a then record height of 792 feet. It was a statement of power, a symbol that commerce was the new religion of the modern city. These buildings weren't just offices, they were monuments to ambition, each one vying to be taller and more magnificent than the last. The city government eventually had to intervene. The 1916 zoning resolution was a landmark piece of legislation that would forever alter the shape of New York skyscrapers. The Roaring Twenties was a decade of unprecedented prosperity, cultural ferment, and exuberant optimism in New York, and nothing captured this spirit better than the Art Deco style. Moving away from the historical ornamentation of the previous era, Art Deco embraced modernity, speed, and glamour. It was a style of sleek lines, geometric patterns, and luxurious materials, inspired by everything from Cubist art to ancient Egyptian motifs. No building better embodies this era than the Chrysler Building. Completed in 1930, it was for a brief time the tallest building in the world, but its fame rests not on its height alone but on its breathtaking beauty. Its architect, William Van Allen, created a masterpiece of decorative art. The building is adorned with stylized eagles, radiator cap ornaments, and a magnificent sunburst-patterned crown of stainless steel. Just a year later, the Chrysler Building was surpassed by an even more ambitious project, the Empire State Building. Rising to 1,250 feet, it became the undisputed king of the skyline, a title it would hold for nearly 4 decades. While less decorative than the Chrysler, the Empire State Building is a model of Art Deco's streamlined power and efficiency. Its construction was a miracle of speed and logistics, completed in just over a year. It immediately became a global icon, a symbol of New York's resilience and ambition even as the Great Depression took hold. It was, and remains, the city's most essential landmark. Their illuminated crowns transformed the nighttime skyline into a glittering fantasy. After World War II, the architectural mood shifted dramatically. The decorative exuberance of Art Deco gave way to modernism. Modernism prized logic, simplicity, functionalism, this international style from Europe's Bauhaus. It rejected ornamentation, called it frivolous and dishonest. It celebrated structure, steel grid curtain wall of glass, the ideal, rational, universal, transparent. New York became the canvas. 2 seminal buildings marked the arrival. Lever House, slim blue-green glass slab floating above an open plaza. It was the first glass curtain wall on Park Avenue, revolutionary. A few years later, across the street, the Seagram Building by Mies van der Rohe. Seagram Building, dark bronze and glass tower, set back in a grand granite plaza, minimalist elegance and proportion. This style spread fast, glass towers across Midtown, Lower Manhattan. The skyline changed. Wedding cake setbacks of Art Deco replaced by sleek monolithic slabs boxes. Efficient to build, flexible, light-filled offices. However, it had critics, anonymous glass boxes seen as sterile. Dehumanizing, lacking character and craftsmanship. Repetition caused monotony, neighborhoods lost unique identities. Open plazas at tower bases, zoning incentives encouraged them. Glass dissolved the boundary between inside and outside, visual transparency. This era reflected a confident, technologically advanced, globally dominant America. The architectural story of New York City took a tragic and abrupt turn on September 11, 2001. The destruction of the World Trade Center's Twin Towers left a devastating void in the hearts of millions in the iconic skyline of Lower Manhattan. The towers, once criticized for their bland scale, had become beloved symbols of the city. Their absence was a profound and painful wound. The question of what to build in their place became one of the most significant and emotionally charged architectural challenges of our time. It was a debate about memory memorialization commerce, the very identity of New York in the 21st century. The master plan, by Daniel Libeskind, sought to balance competing demands. It preserved the footprints of the original towers as sacred ground for the National September 11th Memorial. Reflecting Pool. 1. Reflecting Pool. 2. Around this memorial, a new complex of office towers would rise, restoring commercial life and rebuilding the skyline. The centerpiece is One World Trade Center. Designed by David Childs of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, it rises to a symbolic height of 1,776 feet, evoking American independence. Its form is elegant and crystalline, a tapering obelisk that shifts and shimmers in the light. Unlike the twin boxes it replaced, it is a singular sculptural statement. The tower is a potent symbol of rebirth. Its spire restores the vertical punctuation of the downtown skyline. Born of tragedy, it stands as a testament to the city's enduring strength and forward-looking spirit. New York City's skyline is not a static postcard. It is a living, breathing organism in a state of perpetual evolution. It is the most compelling physical record of the city's relentless energy and its unwavering belief in the future. The story of its architecture, from the first Dutch gables to the latest super-tall towers. Each generation has seen fit to tear down and build anew, imposing its own values, technologies, aspirations on the urban grid. This cycle of destruction and creation is the city's fundamental rhythm, the engine that keeps it dynamic and prevents it from ever becoming a museum of its own past. This architectural narrative is a direct reflection of the city's ambition. The race to build the tallest skyscraper in the 1930s was about more than just height. It was a competition for prestige, a bold declaration of commercial supremacy. The sleek glass towers of the mid-20th century mirrored the city's role as the polished capital of global corporations. Today, the impossibly slender residential towers rising over Central Park speak to a new era of extreme wealth and engineering prowess. The buildings of New York are always a barometer of its economic and cultural climate, making its skyline one of the most honest and revealing urban landscapes in the world. What makes New York's architecture so unique is this dense layering of history. A walk down a single avenue can take you past a 19th-century brownstone, a glorious Art Deco tower, a stark modernist slab, and a shimmering contemporary glass spire. This eclectic mixture, often jarring but always vibrant, is the city's defining characteristic. Ultimately, the buildings of New York tell a story of human aspiration. They represent the collective dream of millions who came to this island seeking something more.